Hello, everyone, and welcome to the FanDuel Punch-Out. I am Russell Clay, and you can find me on Twitter at Russell J. Clay. Let's. Hooah! How's that? That would be my ump call if I was behind the plate. That's probably not too good, but Jason's not here, so I pretty much have free reign to do as many punch-out calls as I want. Anyway, so getting into it here, let's look at catcher real quick. Jonathan Lucroy has a great matchup against Bartolo Colon tonight. 3,600. It is paying up, but I think it's definitely worth it tonight, especially when you consider the 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 position itself is kind of weak. So when you're looking at Lucroy, I think he's the clear top option. I think going down a little bit, you look at McCann here. 3K has a pretty solid matchup against Irvin Santana, lefty versus righty. So he's going to be in the matchup and in the lineup. So I like him at 3K. Borderline cash, depending on how you go for roster construction again. Just like DraftKings, pitchers aren't too expensive. Obviously, Gio Gonzalez 9K. But other than that, I mean, you're not really stressing a lot of salary cap issues today. So I think you can pay up here and feel pretty comfortable. Obviously, Wilson Ramos in play as well. I like that national stack again. Kind of looking down here. You really want to pay up, honestly. But obviously, there's going to be cheap guys every night. Kurt Suzuki, min price. So you can look at that if you're looking to truly pay down and totally load up on, I would say, outfield and maybe third or something like that. But in terms of this position, Chris Iannetta, 2,300. He's solid if he's in the lineup. He's got a pretty good matchup, and he obviously is coming off a big night the other day. So you're looking at him. He has some upside, 2,300. That's solid. But I'd stick to McCann, Ramos, and Lucroy. Not a fan of Wieters against Stroman tonight. I do like Stroman quite a bit. So that's kind of what we're looking at there. Breathe. First base. All right. What do we got here, guys? Edwin Encarnacion, highest price guy with Chris Carter, 3,700. That was kind of how I envisioned this slate. On DraftKings, he was not the most expensive, and he actually came at 4,600, which was a relative bargain compared to some of the guys that were higher priced. Joey Votto was like 5,300 or something crazy. You can check out that pod if you want the exact details, because we're working off memory at this stage. But Encarnacion, great home run upside against Tyler Wilson, so you gotta like that. Obviously, Chris Carter always has home run upside against Cologne, especially today. So both 3,700, both tournament worthy. Both, I'd say Encarnacion in cash is viable. I'd probably stick to tournaments with Carter because obviously he has a little more downside. Cleveland, they have a decent matchup, but I'm not necessarily targeting them, especially Carlos Santana against Carnes. That's not something I'm not necessarily looking to exploit. So I think I'm kind of avoiding that one. And the same with Davis versus Stroman. Obviously, you like Davis for his power, but I think that's a little capped tonight. I do like Stroman in all formats. So that's what we're kind of looking at. Again, fire all your Cardinals out there. Matt Adams, 3,400. Love that. Again, he hit a homer last night, and I think he has similar upside tonight. So if you're looking at that, I mean, I'd go right back to the well with that. Joey Votto, much different scenario here than DraftKings. I do like that price. I think he's a nice value, and he takes a lot of the guys in this price range out of play. So pretty much everyone, 3,400 to 3K, I think you just pay up to Votto. Honestly, I don't see much upside among that group. Moving down here, James Loney, 2,300. I mean, obviously, he just doesn't have much of a sample size right now. So the new team, 2,300. I don't mind that. He doesn't have a perfect matchup though, so it really is a punt. Clint Robinson obviously hitting at the end of that Nationals lineup. Sort of a YOLO tournament play, but could work out. He could get a hit or two. So 2,100. He doesn't really have to do much to sort of come through for you. So I do like that. Other than that, I think you're kind of avoiding this down here. I'd stick to that 34 to 37 range. It's not killing you, and as I mentioned, you'll have the cap to sort of figure it out. So that's kind of what you're looking at there. Second base, Matt Carpenter, love that play. Daniel Murphy, love that play. Cano, not quite as strong as those guys. Obviously, he's priced down, but I still would rather just bump up to those two. Murphy obviously didn't even have the biggest day of the Nationals yesterday. They kind of went all off around him. So if you had a stack, you still survived. But I still think he has high upside today against the White Sox. So I'm kind of going with that. I think he has strong upside tonight, 4,100. Carpenter, again, you're kind of going at Finnegan with these Cardinals again tonight in that bullpen. So 4,200, I'll gladly pay that. I think you can fit in a nice with him and Adams. That kind of averages it out. So pretty reasonable. Starlin Castro, 2,800. That is a solid price for him. Again, he's streaking 2 home runs in the last 3 games, and obviously you can't expect that, but he does have some upside. He's starting to figure it out in this Yankees lineup, and there's not a ton of pressure on him to contribute right now. So he's kind of just free flowing and hitting at the end of the lineup. But I mean, always potential. That Yankees lineup has a lot of upside tonight, so he has a strong chance at 4 at bats, maybe even 5 if the Yankees really get it going. So I really like his chances tonight. And below that, I mean, I think that's really the lowest you're going. Scooter Gannett might be batting high in the Brewers lineup, so you can look at that. I do like a Brewers stack against Cologne, so you can look at that 2,800, and that might even things out. Third base. What are we doing here, guys? I like Josh Donaldson. It's a little different than DraftKings. Todd Frazier, I'm not really touching tonight. I like Gio Gonzalez. He's my cash arm, so it wouldn't really make much sense if I was totally high on all these White Sox bats. I will say, out of all of them, Frazier probably has the biggest upside. But at 3,900, that's a little too rich for my blood tonight. Rendon, not my favorite bat in the Nationals lineup tonight. I think if you're paying up, you just go Murphy and Harper. But 3,600, pretty reasonable, and I think you can fit him in with most pitchers you're going with, even if you do go Gio. So, I mean, get weird with that National stack tonight. I think there's a lot of potential there. And just like last night, I mean, we saw Worth go off, but I think a lot of these guys have potential, including Ben Revere, and we'll get to the outfield. But Kyle Seager, 3,300, lefty versus righty. Give me that. I think that's a great matchup. Him and Cano are leading this Mariners team. They're top 5 in both WOBA and ISO this year against righties. So I think this could be an issue for Cleveland and their run total tonight. So I'm definitely looking at that. Martin Prado, decent option. That whole Marlins Twins game weirds me out. I don't think there's as much potential for runs as generally perceived. So especially with Vegas, I mean, Twins getting 5 runs, that's not something I'm totally interested in. However, their lineup is much more intriguing tonight. Trevor Plouffe, 2,500, Dozier, 3,500, Mauer, 34. They're not badly priced, and then obviously Nunez, 37. So it's much different than DK. All those guys are super priced up. Nunez is over 5K on DK. So I think they're much more reasonable here. And obviously, like a guy like Plouffe at 2,500 in a decent matchup. It's not a great matchup like it's priced in Vegas. So I would be cautious with them, but they're definitely tournament, and you can definitely fit some one-offs from that lineup into your cash games. So I'm definitely cool with that. But getting back to everyone here, Hernan Perez, 2,200. I think that's a great value. Tough to beat that price against struggling Bartolo Colon, 2,200. I do like that quite a bit. So in terms of punting, I don't think you're doing anything other than Plouffe and Hernan tonight. That's pretty straightforward in my opinion. So I mean, on to third. We don't really have to think about that too much. Just do it. Just do it. Or Donaldson, or Rendon, or Seager. Just do it. Don't even think about anything else. Don't pick Chase Headley. Don't do that. Don't, unless you want to hurt my feelings. Just don't. Just don't do that. Manny Machado, 3,800, always in play. I don't like the matchup, but I mean, you always are willing to play Machado, especially if you got extra cap. Throw him in there. He's always the top option at short unless he's facing an ace. So, and while I do like Stroman, I can't deny Machado has upside against him. So that's kind of what you're looking at there. Nunez, I like this price a lot more. I think he's viable in this spot, more as a standalone guy. But yeah, definitely has upside at that price. Obviously having a great year and shown some major upside in the last 4 or 5 games or so. So definitely looking at that there. Aledemys Diaz, sign me up again. I love that dude. 3,500, pretty reasonable. He's not the deal he once was, but he's still hitting the ball really well. He hasn't totally regressed off his early season pace. So I mean, you just keep going with it. I think we're starting to see that this is just the player he is. So 3,500, very reasonable for him. Jonathan Villar, again, love the Brewers tonight, 3,500, solid play. In terms of these high-end options for shortstop, I really like them all pretty much. Other than Lindor seems kind of smushed in the middle of a lot of good options, so I probably wouldn't have too many shares of him. But other than that, I mean, Villar, Diaz, Machado, Nunez, all great options. Jumping down here, Gregorio Petit, love that guy. He's been crushing it lately, 2,800. I think he's your pay down option tonight again against Nova. He's been struggling. The Angels should have some good opportunity tonight. Petit's been batting late in the order, but I do think that's okay. You kind of just roll with it. He's been hitting well, so 2,800 for a guy batting late in the lineup, but has been streaking. I mean, take a look at his box score of late. 5 of the last 6 games above 12 FanDuel points. So that's pretty much been automatic for a near min price. So that's pretty much automatic pay down there for me if you're not going with Machado or the other options I mentioned. So that's kind of the way I'm playing that one. Outfields, Jose Bautista, great one-off. Not as good as Mike Trout, though. Mike Trout's the move here at the top, I think. Obviously, his former buddy Mark Trumbo has been destroying the ball this year. But I do like Trout in his matchup tonight against Nova. I just think that's perfect. Obviously, Trout over 400 WOBA against righties since 2015. So that's kind of what you're looking at there. Bryce Harper, he's the other guy I'm looking at the top there. Obviously, Bautista has upside, but I'm really zoning in on Trout and Harper tonight. And if you want to pay down for a Stroman, if you want to pay down, I mean, Stroman's 8K, but if you want to pay down a little bit, I think there are some reasonable sort of spots for guys, you know. You're looking at Ryan Braun, Harper. I think you really want to pay up at outfield tonight. So Nelson Cruz, I'm not touching. I don't think I'm going to be in on Beltran. I'd just rather go to Braun, Harper if you're really looking at it. Piscotty, again, priced up into a tier I'm not comfortable buying him at. But again, I still like the play against the Reds. It's just he's overpriced. Is a good play, though. So if you want to throw price out the window and maybe do a Cardinal stack. I love Piscotty in that lineup tonight. So that's kind of the way you're looking at that. Worth a throw into your tournament lineups or a national stack. Obviously you're not normally going a full stack in cash, so you don't really have to worry about that. I don't think Worth is a cash play, but he is a strong tournament play once again. Just like yesterday, he paid off big time. I think he's in a pretty similar matchup today, so I'd roll with that for sure. Ellsbury would be the guy I would roll with over Beltran in that Yankees lineup. 3,500, you're saving money, and I think it's pretty reasonable upside for him tonight. Again, I mean, you just keep going down the line. Jay Bruce, Matt Holliday, both great matchups, both solidly priced. So again, Bruce gets the righty, so he's lefty on righty there. Holliday's been crushing. So I do like those plays. Adam Eaton out of play. I mean, those are really strong. I think you want to stay in that range. I don't see a need to go down low at outfield, especially for Giancarlo Stanton. There's just no need to do that. He hasn't had over 20 DK points in a long time, and he's striking out potentially multiple times every game right now. It's not right. 3K, you can go ahead and do it. I'm sure it's going to hit one of these days, but it's just not paying off right now, and it's just not worth it. So, avoid that for now, in my opinion. You can just go down to Ben Revere, batting leadoff, 2,700. That's a great price, along with Ichiro. I mean, Ichiro batting 330 this year. If he's batting leadoff, you're throwing him in there. It's just that simple. So you can pay up for two outfielders and then throw an Ichiro or a Revere in there, or pay down twice here, get Revere, Ichiro, and then sort of pay up for a high price guy and have some salary relief elsewhere. So I'm totally comfortable with that. I like both of those guys quite a bit, as you kind of have if you've started them. I mean, Ichiro has been balling for a 55-year-old man. We don't know his exact age at this stage, but he's doing incredible for what they've asked him to do. I don't think they expected this much out of him at the beginning of the year. So anyway, so I think that's pretty much it. That's a good lineup builder for you. Obviously, keep an eye out for, as lineups come out, there are going to be some random punt plays, but I don't think you're going to need them tonight. Anyhow, all right, thanks for watching, and obviously check out dailyfantasycafe.com for all our awesome tools and content.